And welcome to today's training session focused on explosive power and plyometric strength. These exercises are specifically designed to enhance athletic performance by improving your ability to generate force quickly. Today we'll start with a dynamic warm-up to prepare the body, transition it into a high-intensity core workout focusing on plyometric and explosive movements, and then we will conclude with a comprehensive cool down to promote recovery. Starting off, we are going to start with our side shuffles. The side shuffle activates your lateral muscles of the hips, quads, and glutes, which are crucial for movements for like lateral bounds and agility drills. And this movement mimics athletic actions like defending in basketball or changing direction in soccer, enhancing your lateral quickness. Moving on to our next warm-up exercise, we are going to be performing high knees. For this one, we are going to do a full set of 1 minute, but if you want, you can break them up into multiple sets at 30 seconds each. For this one, high knees are a dynamic drill that emphasizes explosive knee drive and activates the hip flexors and your core. This is an easy warm up that any person can do, and this is going to aim to prepare the body for explosive lower body movements and exercises by improving your fast twitch muscle fiber activation. For this workout, we are going to be implementing a lot of fast twitch muscle fiber activation exercises. So this is one that I highly recommend to implement into your workout. And moving on to our next warm-up exercise, we are going to be performing leg swings. For this one, we are going to do about 30 seconds on each leg, or if you want, you can choose to do a set number of reps per leg for your warm-up. For this one, leg swings are a dynamic flexibility exercise targeting your hamstrings, your hip flexors, and your leg swings are an essential dynamic warm-up exercise, especially during a plyometric or explosive workout. They help prepare the hips, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your quads for the intense movements that are going to be ahead. This drill or exercise also improves your range of motion and helps with your balance and your overall mobility. We can continue to discuss why this is also a very important warm up exercise because when you perform explosive movements like jumps or bounds, your hips play a crucial role in generating power. Tight or stiff hips can limit your range of motion and they can also reduce your efficiency. Doing leg swings can help loosen up the hip joint, activating and stretching the muscles that are involved. They also engage the hamstrings and glutes, like we mentioned, which are primary movers in these exercises, such as broad jumps and squat jumps. Additionally, this exercise trains dynamic flexibility, meaning it helps you achieve better mobility while in motion. This is different from static stretching, which is more about holding a position. Dynamic stretches like leg swings are perfect for activating the muscles that we need without reducing their power output. At this point now of completing our leg swings, I personally know I am feeling warmed up for our very intense workout that is soon to follow once we are done with our warm up. And again, unless you have a personal trainer to instruct you otherwise, if you choose to do this on your own, it is up to you to decide how long or how many reps in duration you want to go for the leg swings. Some people strive to aim until they are warmed up properly to where they have a full range of motion for these leg swings. Again, it is up to your own discretion. Moving on, we are going to be performing traditional jumping jacks. This one, jumping jacks are going to be a full body movement that increases your heart rate and prepares the body for explosive movements. Begin by standing with your feet together and your arms at your side. Jump while spreading your legs and raising your arms overhead. Then return to the starting position and repeat over and over. This one, the muscles worked are going to be the calves, quadriceps, glutes, your deltoids, and some of your core. The benefits to this are going to be to improve your cardiovascular endurance, your coordination, your muscle activation, making them a key component on your plyometric warm up. And understand jumping jacks and their relevance to plyometrics and explosive movements, jumping jacks, they involve repetitive explosive movements that warm up your legs and they prepare the body for the more intense jumping drills that may soon follow for your workouts. And to know again is up to you as the person who's going to perform the workout if you want to do a duration or if you want to break it up into reps and sets for your jumping jack warm up. As you can tell for mine, we went ahead and did a full few minutes straight through. Moving on to something a little bit more fun, we are going to be performing butt kicks. For this one, butt kicks involve a rapid knee flexion to activate the hamstrings and to improve lower body flexibility. You're going to start with a light jog in place, bringing your heels towards your glutes with each step. You're going to maintain a steady pace and you're going to keep your upper body relaxed. This one, the muscles worked, the primarily target the hamstrings, your glutes, your calves while engaging your core. The relevance to the plyometrics and explosive movements. This exercise mimics the posterior chain activation required for explosive sprinting and jumping. The benefits that we can list: the butt kicks improve your hamstring flexibility and your endurance. They reduce the risk of your muscle strain and they enhance your neuromuscular efficiency. Moving on to our next warm up, we are going to be performing body weight squats. Body weight squats serve as a foundational warm up exercise for engaging the lower body and improving your joint mobility. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, your toes slightly turned out. This one, you're going to lower your body by pushing your hips back and bending your knees until your thighs are parallel to the ground. Then return to your starting position and repeat over and over for a desired set of reps or a duration, for example, setting a timer. The muscles you will be activating are going to involve the quadriceps, your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, and your core. And how this will prepare you for a plyometric explosive workout. The squats activate the key muscle groups used in jumping and explosive movements, serving as a precursor to the more advanced plyometric exercises. Some benefits you can expect to see are enhanced strength, stability, and mobility in your lower body, while reducing the risk of injury in subsequent high intensity workout exercises. For our next exercise, we are going to be performing a light shoulder tap in a push up plank position. We are going to simply focus on tapping each shoulder with the opposite hand while keeping our hips stable and staying in our push up plank position. The muscles that we can expect to be worked are going to be the shoulders, your chest, your core, and some of your hip flexors while also stretching the hamstrings. How this will prepare you for your plyometric explosive workout. The shoulder taps develop core stability and shoulder endurance, both of which can support explosive upper body movements. Some benefits are going to be some enhanced core strength, some coordination, some flexibility to create a stable foundation for your plyometric training. And once we have finally finished with all of our warm up exercises, we are going to focus on wrapping up our warm up with a small light jog. A light jog raises the heart rate and increases your blood flow to all the muscles, prepping the body for explosive activity, which we at this point we already are ready for. We're going to maintain a steady pace and focus on controlling breathing. For this one, I chose a short distance to run back and forth because it was on the field and it was a very lovely day. And if they weren't already done so, the muscles that are going to be activated and work during your jog are going to be the quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, and your core. And it's always a good idea to perform a light to moderate jog before an expected plyometric or explosive workout. Doing so ensures that your body is gradually increasing circulation and loosening up all the joints that you will be needing for the explosive exercises ahead. A light jog also aids in improving your cardiovascular endurance, also reducing the risk of injury, and it sets the stage for your high intensity movements. And once we complete our small light jog, we are going to shift into a lateral crisscross shuffle. And some helpful advice while performing your warm up. Don't forget to stay hydrated so that way you can stay energized for the entirety of your warm up and your workout, as well as ensuring that you have a healthy breakfast that is full of full protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats, and not so much full of sugar and processed food to make sure that you have good fuel to utilize during your workout. As we draw closer to the end of our jog, we're going to transition into our last warm up exercise that is going to be a lateral cross shuffle. And once you complete your light jog, we're going to transition into our lateral crisscross shuffle. For this one, we're going to continue to prime our body for the dynamic movements. This one is especially helpful in building coordination, your agility, and your lateral quickness. Again, we're just focusing on our warm up here. The intensity and intention of this warm up can be modified for people who are aiming to adapt to sports or more specific explosive training. And just some simple instructions to perform this. We're just going to be simply moving side to side, crisscrossing our feet one over the other, and we're going to be maintaining a upright athletic stance throughout the entire warm up. And as previously mentioned, this warm up is fantastic for preparing your body for any type of diagonal movement like side shuffles, lateral bounds, broad jumps. It improves coordination and rhythm, which are essential for sports performance. And congratulations to completing our warm up. At this point now, we should be fully prepared to venture into our explosive and plyometric full workout. Beginning our very first explosive exercise, we're going to be performing broad jumps. Broad jumps are a foundational plyometric movement that tests and develops horizontal power. To begin, we're going to start in a sitting position with your feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to swing your arms back and bend your knees into a squat position. Explosively jump forward as far as possible, landing softly with bent knees to absorb your impact. The muscles that are going to be worked are going to be your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, and your core. And how? What this exercise does is emphasize maximum force production in a single explosive motion, essential for athletic performance in sports requiring jumping or sprinting. And some benefits you can expect to see while performing the broad jumps. It's going to enhance your leg power. It's going to help your coordination. And it's also going to help reduce injury risk while improving your overall strength. For our first variation, we're going to be performing a continuous broad jump, or nicknamed a frog jump. For this one, we're just going to perform consecutive broad jumps without stopping between each repetition. This variation will help you build your endurance and your neuromuscular efficiency. For this set, we're going to be aiming to complete 10 full reps. For our third variation of the broad jump, we are going to be performing the twisting broad jump. The twisting broad jump adds a dynamic rotational component to your traditional broad jump, challenging your coordination, your balance, and your core strength. This variation not only engages the primary muscles used in the broad jump, which are going to be the quadriceps, your hamstring, glutes, and calves, but it also heavily activates the obliques in your transverse abdominis for your rotational control, as well as stabilizing muscles and the angles in your knees. Adding the twist mid-air requires you to stabilize your landing while reorientating your body and improving your proprioception and your neuromuscular control. These twisting broad jumps mimic movements that are usually required in sports like basketball or soccer or tennis, where the athlete frequently has to pivot or change direction while in motion. This makes the exercise functional for developing rotational power and agility, which are going to be critical for performance in these dynamic environments. Moving on to our next exercise, we are going to be performing tuck jumps. Tuck jumps are a high impact vertical plyometric exercise designed to enhance explosive power, core stability, and neuromuscular coordination. This movement challenges the lower body and the core, improving athletic performance and a dynamic control. While airborne, tuck your knees towards your chest as high as possible, keeping your torso upright. Extend your legs before landing softly on the balls of your feet, ensuring that your knees remain slightly bent to absorb the impact. Immediately reset and prepare for your next jump. Tuck jumps emphasize explosive vertical force production, and this movement can be seen and be used to improve movements in sports like rebounding in basketball, or jumping for a spike in volleyball, or reacting quickly in soccer, something like that. For our second variation of the tuck jump, we are going to be performing a tuck jump into a depth drop. The purpose of this trains your reactive strength, which is the ability to transition quickly from an eccentric, which is the landing, phase to the concentric, which is the jumping phase of the tuck jump. Our goal for this is to improve the stretch shortening cycle efficiency and mimic scenarios where athletes must react quickly, again, as mentioned, at rebounding in basketball or going for a spike in volleyball. The rest and recovery period for each rep is going to be a fraction longer compared to a traditional tuck jump. The power output needed for each rep is going to be more to that of a traditional tuck jump. Moving on to our final variation of the tuck jumps, we are going to be performing rapid tuck jumps. For this one, we are going to perform a series of tuck jumps in a quick succession, minimizing the ground contact for the time between each jump. The purpose of this is to focus on reducing the time spent on the ground to enhance the plyometric efficiency of the exercise. The benefits that come from performing a rapid tuck jump are going to help increase your power output, reactive strength, and your cardiovascular endurance while improving the rate of force development. Transitioning into our next exercise, we are going to be performing the single leg bounds. For the single leg bounds, they are going to be a plyometric exercise that targets unilateral power development, works on your balance and your coordination as well. This exercise involves propelling yourself forward with one leg landing on the same leg, and continuing for a specific distance for a number of sets and repetitions or set distance. This movement and exercise slightly mimics the biomechanical demands for sprinting or running in agility sports where a single leg explosiveness is crucial for that sport. Performing this exercise is going to help you build your proprioception and your overall body control, while also targeting each leg independently, helping to address any strength disparities that you may have in each leg. The muscle stabilizers you can expect to see the most improvement are going to be your core, some of your hip stabilizers, and your ankle and foot muscles, just to ensure your stability and control upon each impact and for each rep. Beginning our second variation of the leg bound, we are going to be performing the alternate leg bound. To perform this set of variation, you are going to push off with one leg, but you're going to be landing on the opposite leg for each rep. We want to perform this so that way we can focus on the benefits that are going to be to develop your coordination, help with your bilateral power symmetry, and the fluidity in your transition and movement in each rep. As for who this may be useful for, some athletes may be able to use this and implement it into a workout in order to help improve their acceleration or their deceleration in their multiple directional sports like soccer, basketball, tennis. But the same principles are going to apply still for this variation of the alternate leg bound. We are going to focus on landing briefly and then immediately try to explode into the next bound. Some coaching advice that you can use to gradually implement this variation into your exercise is just begin with smaller bounds to perfect your form before you progress to greater distances or greater heights for this variation. Moving on to our third variation of the leg bound, we are going to be performing the lateral leg bound. For this one, we are going to focus on an execution that is going to propel yourself side to side instead of forward. By performing this variation of the leg bound, it is going to bring a lot of benefits that include things like building your lateral explosiveness. It's also going to help strengthen your hip abductors and your hip adductors. Both are going to be crucial for your change of direction skills, which are both going to be perfect for sports like basketball or hockey or football even, where lateral movements are common. After a quick rest, you want to jump back into it. For this one, we're going to still focus on ensuring a soft, controlled landing to minimize the joint stress and to continue to improve your proprioception. Moving into our next exercise, we are going to be performing the burpee. The burpees are a high intensity, full body exercise that combines strength and power and cardiovascular endurance all in a single movement. Burpees for sure challenge multiple muscle groups and energy systems simultaneously. They are going to make a perfect staple in any functional fitness or plyometric training or conditional. To perform this exercise, you're going to stand tall with your feet shoulder width apart and your arms relaxed at your side. You're going to focus on squatting into a plant. You're going to lower into a squat position, bringing your hands to the floor in front of you. You're going to jump your feet backwards into a plank position. You're going to engage your core to stabilize your spine. Then you're going to perform a push-up by lowering your chest to the ground and pressing back up into the plank. Return to a squat, perform an explosive jump, and then landing softly with your knees bent to absorb the impact, immediately transitioning into the next. And the muscles that are going to be used include the pectoralis, your deltoids, your triceps, glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, and your calves. For our second variation of the burpee, we are just going to be performing the half portion of the burpee in just a stand, which is going to be removing the explosive jump portion at the top. By excluding the jump, we're just going to be focusing on transitioning from the plank into a standing position. A reason that we may be able to utilize this variation of the burpee is that it reduces impact on the joints while also emphasizing strength and endurance at the bottom portion of the burpee. This variation of the burpee may be ideal for beginners or those with joint concerns just to implement and slowly progress into a full burpee. The coaching advice still remains the same. You're just going to land softly from the jump with your knees slightly bent to reduce the joint stress, and adjusting the tempo to match your fitness level, slowing down for beginners or speeding up for the advanced athletes. For beginners, just focus on quality over quantity and just focus on maintaining your form throughout the exercise to avoid injury. As the burpee does require a lot of energy input, it is important to monitor your fatigue levels closely, because as poor form under fatigue does increase the likelihood of injury. Moving on to our last variation of the burpee, we're just going to be performing a half burpee. What this does is just omit the push-up portion of the burpee. A reason to do so is that it increases speed and agility while reducing the upper body fatigue. And this variation of the burpee can be modified for speed and tempo, which can both be applicable to a high tempo workout or a very sport specific training workout. By incorporating variations of the burpee, you can tailor the intensity and your focus to suit different fitness levels and training goals. Moving on into our next exercise, we are going to be performing the barbell push press. To exercise this exercise, you're going to start by holding your barbell at about shoulder height with a pronated grip, which are going to be your palms facing forward. You're going to keep your feet shoulder width apart, your chest upright, and your core engaged. You're going to perform a slight dip by bending your knees and your hips, keeping your torso upright. This movement stores elastic energy in your lower body for the explosive upward drive. You're going to extend your knees and the hips explosively, transferring force upward through your body. Simultaneously, press the weight overhead by extending your arms fully. Ensure that your arms are straight and that the weight is stabilized overhead. For our second variation, we're going to be performing the dip and push, but starting at the thigh position. To begin, you're going to start with the barbell position at around your thighs. Initiate the movement by explosively pulling the barbell upward to your shoulder height. And then once the bar reaches that position, quickly dip by bending your knees slightly and then drive upward forcefully to push the bar overhead, just like we performed a second ago. The benefits of this are that it emphasizes the transition from pulling to pushing, maximizing the contribution of the lower body to the lift and enhancing overall explosiveness. This variation is going to be ideal for the athletes aiming to improve power transfer from the lower body to the upper body, particularly in movements requiring rapid transition and explosive overhead strength. And the muscles that are going to be used during this type of workout are going to include the deltoids, which are going to be responsible for pressing the weight overhead, your triceps, which are going to help with extending the arm during the press, your upper pectorals assist in the initial drive phase of the press, as well as your quadriceps, glutes, and your hamstrings, all which generate power during the dip and the drive phase of the overhead press. Moving on to our last variation of the push press, we are going to perform a squat and push. To perform this variation of the push press, we are going to start in a deeper squat position before we start driving the weight overhead. And the reason for this variation is for the benefits that it provides. It engages more lower body muscles like your glutes, hamstrings, and calves, while increasing the exercise's complexity while involving the upper body portion as well. And it helps strength building potential. This variation is also great for building your full body conditioning while also improving your strength and your deep joint angles. Remember to engage your core throughout the exercise to prevent any excessive arching of the lower back and to avoid excessive forward leaning during the dip phase to keep the power directly vertical. Moving on to our next exercise, we are going to be performing the barbell squat jumps. For this one, these barbell squat jumps combine a resistance training with a plyometric principle to develop explosive leg power and vertical jump capability. By incorporating a barbell, this exercise increases the load on the lower back, requiring greater effort from the muscles and enhancing both strength and your speed. To set up, just place a barbell with a light to moderate load across your upper traps, ensuring even weight distribution. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, maintaining a neutral spine and an engaged core. You are going to lower into a squat and descend until your thighs are about parallel to the ground. You're going to focus on exploding upward by driving through your heels, extending your knees and hips forcefully. You're going to propel your body into the You're going to land softly on the balls of your feet with your knees slightly bent to absorb the impact. You're going to then immediately transition into the next repetition. The primary muscles that are going to be used during this exercise are going to include the quadriceps, which are going to provide the primary force during the ascent in your jumping phase, and your glutes to assist in the hip extension and generate explosive power, your hamstrings to support your knee flexion and your hip extension, particularly during the jump. Your calves facilitate push-off and control during the landing phase. And for your stabilizers, your core ensures the stability in your balance throughout the entire movement, and your erector spinae, which is going to be your lower back, maintains an upright posture under the load during this exercise. The barbell squat jumps increase your demand for the fast twitch muscle fibers, which are going to be critical for producing rapid, powerful movements such as jumping and sprinting. For our second variation of the squat jump, we are going to focus more on a tempo change. For this one, we're going to be performing rapid squat jumps, and to execute this, just perform quick, consecutive jumps with a minimal ground contact time. What this does is put focus on your speed and your reactive strength, which is going to enhance the strength shortening cycle. This variation is going to be a great application for the athletes who need or want to improve their sprinting or their agility. For this variation, it is highly recommended to use a lightweight barbell to master your mechanics and to ensure proper form, but also minimizing risk of injury. But the principles still remain the same. You want to focus on controlled landings while maintaining your soft knees in a proper alignment to minimize your joint stress. Just remember to keep your chest upright and your core engaged throughout the entire exercise to avoid leaning forward under the barbell. It is also important to remember to monitor your fatigue levels, as the more fatigue that you have, the higher chance you have of injury. As this exercise does use a more lightweight barbell, it is recommended to increase the duration or the number of repetitions you use during this set. And as mentioned, that this exercise does increase the demand for your fast twitch muscle fibers, which can be a good transition to a real world athletic movements that expire the explosive lower body strength, making it ideal for athletes aiming to increase their vertical leap or sprinting and agility. Moving on to our final variation of the squat jump, we are going to be performing seated squat jumps. To perform this exercise properly, you are going to begin by seating on a bench or a box, something that you can sit on comfortably. You're going to eliminate the momentum and then focus on exploding upwards into a jump. The reason for this variation of the exercise is that it focuses on isolating the jump phase by removing the stretch shortening cycle, which is emphasizing the raw explosive strength of the jump. This exercise variation is useful for athletes who want to develop a starting power, such as sprinters or jumpers. The benefits that one may see from performing this variation of the exercise is going to be explosive leg strength, which is increasing the power in your quadriceps, your glutes, and your hamstrings, which again are essential for jumping and sprinting, an increased jump height, neuromuscular efficiency, which is going to promote better coordination between the muscle groups, leading to a quicker and more forceful contraction. Also, for this variation, you want to focus and prioritize explosive movements and not necessarily a heavy workload. Moving on to our pendlay row. The pendlay row is a foundational compound exercise that emphasizes explosive pulling strength and a precise technique. It begins with the barbell resting on the ground, requiring the lifters to reset and maintain a consistent form on every repetition. You're going to stand with your feet hip width apart in the barbell position over the middle of your feet. You're going to bend at the hips and slightly at the knees, keeping your back straight and your chest up. You're going to grip the barbell with the overhand pronated grip, which is going to be slightly wider than shoulder width. Engage your lats and pull the bar explosively towards chest. And then on the descent phase, you're going to ensure that the barbell comes to a complete stop before initiating the next repetition, emphasizing a clean reset. Moving on to our second variation of the pendlay row. For this one, we are going to be using a wide pronated grip for our pendlay row. To execute this, we are going to focus on a grip that is going to be wider than your shoulder width. What this does is going to put more focus and place greater emphasis on the upper traps, your rear delts, and your rhomboids. This variation is going to be for those who want to aim to focus on developing upper back thickness and improving your posture. This may also help with encouraging proper retraction and stabilization of your shoulder blades, which is going to help increase shoulder strength overall and help reduce injury. For our third variation of the pendlay row, we are going to be using a supinated underhand grip for this exercise. Using this grip is going to put a focus on increasing your biceps involvement in this exercise while still targeting the lats and your upper back. This variation is going to be useful for athletes who may need to improve their bicep strength for any type of pulling movement. But overall, the pendlay row is going to help back strength and development. It's going to help strengthen your lats, your traps, your rhomboids, leading to improved upper body power and aesthetics, while also improving your explosive power by building your abilities to generate force rapidly. Next, we're going to be performing a traditional deadlift. The deadlift trains explosive hip extension, which is going to be a key component in jumping, sprinting, and other athletic movements. It also strengthens the fast twitch muscle fibers and builds a foundational power required for the plyometric. To set up, you want to place a loaded barbell on the floor over your midfoot. You're going to stand with your feet hip width apart with your toes pointing slightly outward. You're going to bend at the hips and knees to grip the barbell and your hands just outside the knees. You're going to keep your back straight, your chest up, your shoulders slightly in front of the bar, and you're going to engage your core. To lift, you want to drive with your heels, extending your hips and your knees simultaneously. You're going to keep the barbell close to your body, allowing it to travel in a straight line. You're going to finish the lift by standing tall, locking out your hips, your knees, and your shoulders. For your descent phase, you want to reverse the movement by pushing your hips back and bending your knees to lower the barbell to the ground with control while maintaining a neutral spine. And lastly, breathing is going to be the most important thing. You want to inhale before the lift to brace your core and to exhale at the top of the movement. For our second variation of the deadlift, we are going to use a different grip. This one is going to be called the mixed grip, where to execute this, you have one hand using a pronated grip, while the other hand is going to be a supinated. One of the benefits to using a mixed grip is the fact that it does provide additional grip stability, especially if you choose to gradually increase the weight on your deadlift. It is also useful for overcoming your grip fatigue as you work through your set, but requires alternating your hand position every so often to avoid muscle imbalances. Also remember to avoid rounding your lower back and to keep the barbell close to your body in order to maximize your mechanical efficiency. Also use your hips as your primary driver while avoiding excessive knee dominance. For our third and final variation of the deadlift, we are going to be using what is called a hook grip. To execute this, we are going to position your hands on the barbell with a pronated grip. You're going to then wrap your thumbs around the bar and then you're pressed firmly against the bar using your index and your middle fingers. This creates a secure locking mechanism for your grip. The reason that one may want to use a hook grip is that the hook grip significantly improves the grip security, which is going to allow you to lift heavier weights without relying on straps. It also is going to focus on reducing your grip fatigue by distributing the pressure. But overall, the deadlift is going to be a very popular, versatile, and powerful exercise. It's going to provide a lot of unmatched benefits for your athletic performance and really your overall power development. A lot of benefits that you can expect to see are going to include things like a stronger posterior chain, while also straightening your glutes and your hamstrings and your back, and improving your power and your resilience. Also enhance athletic performance by helping with boosting and sprinting and other types of explosive movements that require your hip extension. But overall, it will help you improve your lifting mechanics and also reduce a injury risk in your daily activities. For our next exercise, we are going to be performing a power clean, but we are going to be working in variations and increments that build up to a full power clean. For the first variation, we're going to start with a half hang clean, which is going to be starting at your hip position. To execute this exercise, we're going to start with the barbell at about your hip height. You're going to hold it with a pronated grip. You're going to push your hips back slightly to create tension in your hamstrings, and then explosively extend your hips and knees while shrugging your shoulders. Pull the bar upward, keeping it close to your body, and catch it at your shoulder height in a partial squat, and then stand up to fully complete the lift. Doing this variation is going to help isolate the explosive hip extension phase emphasizing power generation from the hips and the precision in the bar path. This is going to minimize the contribution from the initial pull, allowing for a targeted improvement in your mid-range explosiveness. Doing this is going to be ideal for developing efficient force transfer and the timing in your clean, especially for the athletes working on refining their second pull mechanics or enhancing their hip drive explosiveness. Upgrading to our second variation of the power clean, we are going to start with a clean pull, which is going to start at the ground. To execute this, we are going to begin with the barbell on the ground with your feet about shoulder width apart. You're going to grip the bar with a pronated grip. For this, you're going to engage your core and maintain a straight back as you drive through your legs to lift the bar. And when the bars pass your knees, explosively extend your hips and your knees and finishing at catching the bar at around shoulder height. The reason for this variation is that this movement focuses solely on the pulling phase of the clean, which is going to emphasize the explosive extension of the hips and your knees without the complexity of the full catch and squat. And doing this is going to be perfect for athletes who are looking to build strength and speed in their cleans or to refine their technique in the first and second pulls. It is an excellent drill for increasing your power and your bar speed while reducing the technical demands of a full clean. Doing this is going to ensure that you have your technique down to perfection. The muscles that are going to be worked are going to include your glutes, your hamstrings, and your quadriceps. These are going to be responsible for driving the explosive hip and knee extension during the pull. And your secondary muscles are going to be your trapezius and your deltoids. Both are going to help elevate the shoulders and assist in the upward barbell movement. Also, your core and your erector spinae are going to help stabilize the torso and maintain proper posture throughout the entire lift. And your forearms and your grip muscles are going to secure the barbell during the pull and your catch phases. Now we are going to piece everything together and perform our third variation, which is going to be the full power squat clean. Again, we're going to begin with the barbell on the ground with your feet shoulder width apart and your hands gripping the bar in a pronated position. You're going to engage your core and retract your shoulders and maintain a neutral spine. You're going to initiate the movement by driving through your heels, keeping the barbell close to your body as it passes your knees. And once the bar reaches your mid thigh, you're going to explosively extend your hips and your knees while shrugging your shoulders and pulling the bar upward. As the barbell reaches your peak height, drop rapidly into a full squat position, rotating your elbows under the bar to catch it securely on your shoulders. You're going to maintain an upright torso in the squat, and once stabilized, drive through your heels to stand tall and complete the lift. The squat clean emphasizes total body power, speed, and coordination with the added challenge of transitioning into and out of a deep squat position. This movement does develop strength, mobility, and helps with your explosiveness in a single compound lift. It is definitely a key exercise for athletes who are aiming to build power or strength and mobility simultaneously. It's a full range of motion that mimics real-world athletic demands, such as transitioning from a low position to explosive upward movement, making it ideal for sports like weightlifting, football, basketball. It's going to help build explosive power in your posterior chain, including your glutes, hamstrings, and your back. It also develops your quad strength and mobility through the deep squat position. Some common areas that you want to try your best to avoid are going to be a rounded back. Always maintain a neutral spine during the pull and the squat to avoid possible injuries. Also, you want to make sure to avoid improper catches. If your elbows are too low or the barbell is in an unstable position, it can put strain on the wrist and it can also compromise the control of the barbell. You also want to avoid early pulling. You want to ensure that you're fully extended through your hips before initiating the shrug and your arm pull. And lastly, you want to avoid an incomplete squat. Just failing to achieve proper depth in your squat is going to limit any muscle engagement and also the exercise overall effectiveness. And one last note, the squat clean does demand not only strength and power, but also mobility and flexibility in the hips, your ankles, and your shoulders. It is also important to make sure you properly take your time to rest and recover so that way you also avoid any possible injury. You don't want to power through as fast as you can for this exercise. Next, we are going to be performing the snatch, which is going to be one of the most technically demanding Olympic lifts, which is going to be combining strength, speed, power, precision, all in one single explosive movement. The goal is to lift the barbell from the ground to overhead in one continuous motion while maintaining control and proper form. To start and set up, we are going to place the barbell on the ground with your feet about hip width apart and the bar right over your midfoot. Use a wide grip on the bar, then bend your hips and knees. You're going to then pull the bar, and once the bar reaches around your mid thigh, you're going to expressively extend your hips, knees, and ankles in one motion. You're going to lock out your arms overhead and perform the set. For our second variation, we are going to be performing the snatch, but starting at the hip position. By doing so, we're going to put a focus at beginning at the mid thigh, and we're going to emphasize the mid-range explosiveness in your bar path control. This variation is going to be very useful for improving the second pull and honing in on the precision during the transition phase of the snatch. The muscles that are going to be worked are going to involve your glutes and your hamstrings. You're going to help generate powerful hip extension, as well as your trapezius and your deltoids, which are going to help elevate the shoulders and stabilize the bar overhead. For our third variation, we're going to piece everything together and be performing the full snatch. The setup is going to be the same. We're going to place the barbell on the ground, and we're going to position our feet about hip width apart with the bar over our midfoot. Again, we are going to use a wide grip on the bar, ensuring that your hands are placed at a distance where the bar rests in the crease of your hips when you're standing. You're going to bend your hips and knees, keeping your chest up and your back straight. Engage your lats to maintain the barbell control. Focusing on our first pull, we're going to lift the barbell by extending your knees while maintaining a constant back angle. You're going to keep the barbell close to your shins and ensuring a smooth, controlled movement. We're going to focus on our second transition pull, where once the bar reaches your mid-thigh, explicitly extend your hips, your knees, and your ankles in one motion called the triple extension. Shrug your shoulders and pull the bar upward using the momentum to guide overhead. For the catch phase, we are going to drop under the barbell into a squat position, simultaneously locking your arms overhead. Ensure that the barbell is stabilized above your shoulders with the core engaged and your feet planted. For your recovery, you're going to stand up from the squat position with the barbell overhead, maintaining balance and control. Moving into plyometric push-ups. Plyometric push-ups are an advanced bodyweight exercise designed to help develop explosive upper body power. By propelling your hands off the ground, you engage in fast twitch muscle fibers, improving your strength and your power and neuromuscular coordination. This exercise is particularly beneficial for athletes involved in sports requiring upper body force, such as football or basketball. To begin, you're going to start in a standard push-up position with your hands slightly wider than your shoulder width. Your body should be in a straight line from your head to your heels. When we are descending, you want to lower your chest towards the ground in a controlled manner, keeping your elbows at approximately a 45-degree angle. Now, focusing on the explosive push part of the exercise, you're going to drive forcefully through your palms to push your body upward as quickly and as powerful as possible. You want to aim to generate enough force for your hands to be able to leave the ground. Then you want to focus on your landing by landing softly with your hands returning to around the starting position, but you want to absorb the impact by slightly bending your elbows upon landing to reduce the stress on your joints. You're going to focus on immediately transition into the next rep for a continuous explosive sequence. The muscles that are going to be worked are going to include your pectoralis, which are going to help generate majority of the pushing force, your deltoids, triceps, your core, and your scapular muscles. For our second variation, we're going to be performing clapping plyometric push-ups. And to execute this, we are going to again be focusing on pushing off the ground and then clapping your hands before you land. This variation might be suitable for those who are seeking a greater challenge and more explosiveness in their plyometric push-ups. One of your focuses should be on generating as much speed and power as possible during each push-off phase of the exercise. And if possible, try to find a mat or a soft surface in order to find cushion for when you perform this exercise. For our third variation, this one we are going to be performing a knee-assisted plyometric push-up. And to perform this one, you're going to perform a push-up from the kneeling position to reduce the intensity of the exercise. One of the benefits of this is that it allows beginners or those who have reduced upper body strength to practice explosive exercises safely. This is also considered something to use as a progression or something for a stepping stone for beginners to build towards a standard plyometric push-up. Plyometric push-ups are definitely something that can be considered an excellent tool for building explosive upper body power and also improving your athletic performance and enhancing functional strength for a variety of sports and activities. For our next exercise, we're going to be performing explosive pull-ups. An overview of this is that explosive pull-ups are an advanced variation of the traditional pull-up, which are designed to help enhance upper body power, speed, and coordination. The goal is to perform each rep with a maximum effort, generating enough upward force to bring your chest or even your waist above the bar. This plyometric adaptation of the pull-up is particularly useful for athletes and fitness enthusiasts aiming to improve their explosive pulling ability. For this one, we're going to be using a pronated grip. And on the pull phase, we're going to focus on explosively accelerating upwards, generating as much force as possible. You're going to aim to pull your chest above the bar or higher if you can. On your descent phase, you're going to focus on controlling your descent back to the ground. You're going to reset and prepare for the next explosive repetition. For our second variation, we are going to be using a supinated grip for our explosive pull-ups. This one is going to put a greater activation on our biceps while also assisting in our elbow flexion. These are also useful for those aiming to improve their arm strength alongside with their back power. And some of the muscles that are going to be utilized in this exercise are going to be the latissimus dorsi, which is going to be the main muscle responsible for pulling your body upward, along with your biceps that also assist in your elbow flexion during the pull. Your secondary muscles are going to be your trapezius and your rhomboids, which are going to help stabilize and assist with your scapular retraction during the movement. Your core is going to help stabilize your torso and prevent swinging. And your forearms and your grip muscles are going to help maintain a secure grip on the bar when you pull up. And the explosive pull-up is a plyometric exercise that emphasizes a rapid force production in the upper body. It's going to be similar to plyometric exercises like the squat jumps, which train the lower body, but the explosive pull-ups develop the ability to generate force quickly in the upper body, pulling muscles. This is going to be crucial for activities like climbing and grappling or pulling an object with speed and power. For our final variation, we're going to be performing a close mixed grip explosive pull-up. To perform this, we're going to have one palm facing the outside or east, and your opposite palm is going to be facing the side or west. You're going to initiate the movement by pulling explosively and driving your chest towards the bar while maintaining control. And at the top of the pull-up, your chest should rise above the bar. You're going to then lower yourself back to the starting position in a controlled manner, ensuring full extension before your next repetition. Some of the benefits you can expect to see are going to be developments in your upper body power. It's going to help train your fast twitch muscle fibers and enhancing the explosive strength in your back, arms, and your shoulders. You can also expect to see improvement in your grip strength. It's going to help build your forearm and your hand strength, which are going to be critical for sports and functional tasks. It can also help with your neuromuscular efficiency, which is going to help improve your coordination and your motor unit recruitment for smoother and more efficient movement patterns. And using a mixed grip can also prove to be favorable as it helps alleviate or prevent imbalances in one arm or the other over time. Moving into our cool down, we're going to start with the hamstring stretch, but cool down exercises are going to be essential to reduce muscle tension, improve flexibility, and promote recovery after explosive and plyometric workouts. They also help return the heart rate to a resting level and decrease post-exercise muscle soreness. The hamstring stretch is going to help lengthen the posterior chain and reducing tension in the hamstrings and your lower back. We're going to hold this hamstring stretch for about a good 30 seconds or so. And why we want to do this is that we make sure that we are stretching the hamstring to improve our flexibility and to also decrease stiffness over time. We want to also help prevent any possible injury and alleviate any of the tightness that we just experienced from the explosive movements we just performed. Next, we are going to transition into some rapid toe touches, and this one is up to you if you want to go for a duration of time or if you want to set a certain number of repetitions. For this one, we are going to aim to do about 20 to 30 repetitions. And this exercise is good for gently stretching the hamstring and loosening up the lower back and your shoulders, and also promotes blood flow to aid in recovery after our exercises. Implementing a static stretch, we're going to be performing a knee quad stretch. The knee quad stretch is going to focus on lengthening the quadricep and your hip flexors. You're going to sit on your glutes, and we're going to focus on performing the stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds. This is going to be essential in reducing tightness in the quads after jumping and bounding exercises like the tuck jumps and the single leg bounds that we did earlier today. Next, we're going to be performing a sumo squat stretch. And what this does is going to target the inner thighs and your hips in areas that are often tightened during the explosive lower body movements. And we're just going to simply stand with our feet in a wide stance where our toes pointing so slightly outward. Make sure you sit into a deep squat position, and we're going to hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds. Next, we are going to be performing a butterfly stretch. We are going to perform this stretch for about 50 to 60 seconds. And to perform, we're going to sit on the ground. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together, letting your knees drop towards the floor. You're going to hold your feet with both hands and sit up tall. You're going to deepen the stretch by gently pressing your knees downward on your elbows. What this does is allow us to work and stretch and reduce the tension in our inner thighs, which are going to be our abductors and adductors, as well as our hips. And lastly, we are going to be performing what's called the child's pose, which can be a restorative position that stretches the back, your shoulders, and your hips while promoting relaxation. We're going to go for about 60 seconds. And to perform, you're going to start with your hands and knees in a tabletop position. Ensure your knees are hip width apart. You're going to sit your hips back on your heels. You're going to extend your arms forward and lowering your torso towards the ground. And you really want to focus on hugging your shins. With this, we are going to be lowering tension in our lower back, which is going to be our erector spinae, your latissimus dorsi, and your shoulders and your hips. And by putting a focus on deep breathing, this is going to help calm your nervous system, which is also going to help reduce your post-workout stress. And as we finish up today's workout, we will take these last 5 minutes to cool down with a light walk. Cooling down is going to be an essential part of any workout and allows your body to gradually transition from an intense workout to a resting state. It's going to help prevent any dizziness or lightheadedness by keeping blood circulating effectively. As we walk, I'll recap everything we've accomplished today, highlight the importance of each component, and discuss why a proper cool down is going to be so beneficial. We started with a thorough warm up to prepare our muscles and our joints and cardiovascular system for the demands of the workout. By increasing our body temperature and improving mobility, the warm up ensured that we were ready to move efficiently and, most importantly, safely. The warm up exercises that we perform were going to be the side shuffle, high knees, leg swings, body weight squats, jumping jacks, and butt kicks, and shoulder taps. Those all were proper exercises that we use that correlated and translated into our plyometric explosive exercises. In today's workout, we did focus on building power, strength, and coordination through a combination of explosive movements and functional exercises. Each exercise was designed to challenge specific muscle groups while improving our overall athleticism. Some exercises were definitely more intense than others, but that is why we have variations for each set of exercise. It allows us to find variations in these exercises that we can perform that are up to our workout and athletic capabilities. And we didn't just focus on the big lifts and the plyometrics, we also incorporated movements that engage and strengthen our core. A strong core is always going to be crucial for balance and stability, and it's also going to be important in preventing. And after our main core exercises, we did perform our cool down exercises. We did wrap up with a series of stretches and cool down drills like the rapid toe touches. Those exercises are going to be just as important because they're going to help reduce the muscle stiffness, but also promote flexibility and relaxation. But let's not neglect the importance of a cool down, because during intense exercise, your heart rate increases significantly. Cooling down helps bring it back to its resting rate in a controlled manner while also reducing stress on your cardiovascular system. And also, when you stop exercises suddenly, blood can pool in your extremities, leading to dizziness. This walk ensures that we have proper circulation and that we are delivering oxygen and nutrients to the muscles that we were utilizing during our workout. We've gone over a lot about the physical aspect of our workout, but it's also time to reflect on our mental aspect. A cool down will provide time to reflect on the workout and to really relax your mind and transition out of an intense state. This mental shift is just as important as the physical recovery. It's going to help you feel more grounded and definitely help you feel more accomplished. But why does mental recovery matter? Engaging in a mental cool down has several benefits, and first, it's going to help regulate your stress hormones like your cortisol and your adrenaline, which can remain elevated after your intense physical activity. By calming your mind and telling your body that it's safe to switch into recovery mode, allowing for a better repair of muscles in your tissue. Secondly, mental recovery is directly linked to your performance in your future workouts. When your mind is relaxed and recharged, you're better able to focus, maintain proper technique, and push yourself when needed. You got to think of it as recharging a battery. You can't operate at full capacity if you don't take time to refuel. One of the best ways to mentally wind down is through your mindful practices. We want to try and focus on our breathing. We want to breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth and let your thoughts slow down. Visualization is another helpful technique. Picture your body recovering and your muscles getting stronger and your energy returning. This can create a positive mental association with your workouts, reinforcing the idea that you're taking steps towards your goal. Another effective way to mentally wind down is to reflect on what you've achieved. Today, you pushed through a challenging plyometric workout, and you can also reflect on how today's workout fits into a bigger picture. And then, as we near the end of this walk, we just want to take a moment to appreciate the work that you have put in today. Every rep, every jump, every lift has contributed to making you stronger, making you faster, and more resilient. Remember that fitness is a journey, and consistency is the key to reaching your goals. I want to thank you for joining me in this workout. Whether you're training for a specific goal or just trying to stay active, showing up and putting in the effort is a victory in and of itself. Feel free to revisit the workout whenever you're looking for a combination of explosive strength training and conditioning, or mix it with other routines to keep challenging yourself in new ways. And with that, I'll leave you with a reminder to stay hydrated, stay nourished, get some rest, maximize your recovery. Thank you again for being here. Great job today, and then I'll see you in the next session.